Well, thank you. Let me follow up a little bit with the EPA Administrator. It's my understanding that 34 states expressed concern and asked for withdrawal or significant revision. Is that a correct number?
It's, I don't have
Well,
any
that's what I'm
numbers,
told,
sir.
34. It's not,
It may be, but
it's
it
not
all,
just a few states, it's 34. It's
the
about,
only thing I would indicate
and
is that the same
34
state,
is about 2/3 of the states, if we still have 50 states. Seems like it's a significant number. How long have you been working on this proposed rule?
when did we first propose it? Last April of
Okay, last April.
2014, but certainly
you-
well beyond that,
You
because it
came out
reflects
with
the
your
work on a
proposed
guidance document.
language and consulted different folks, states, which aren't happy. When was the exact date you came out with your proposed rule?
April 21st of 2014.
2014.
But that reflected the guidance document that we
And how
had
much
been
longer
working
were
with the
you,
states
how
on for
much
many years
longer
before
would
that.
you take before you finalized a decision on the rule?
We have not finalized a
I
decision.
mean, no, I want to know how much longer it would take to come out with a final rule. What's
Well,
your
we're
prediction?
hoping to propose it, we're hoping to finalize it this spring. I do not have an exact date.
This spring. Okay, but I'm trying to get some time.
Sure.
I did everything I could to block changing the law after the Supreme Court decision, because there were other definitions. I found in that discussion that one of the things that happens, and I heard earlier testimony from the Corps of Engineers that there's some significant impacts. In fact, you testified earlier, didn't you, Corps Representative, that there will be additional costs, additional services required of the Corps to take on this new responsibility?
There will be some additional implementation costs if the rule is finalized,
Okay.
yes.
So there's additional costs. One of the things that concerns me is maybe the big corporations can comply with this. First of all, I know, having been in business, when you change this rule, you're going to create legal havoc because you're changing years and years of law and definitions. And there's, you talk about clarity, well, when you adopt a new rule with new language, it creates uncertainty, it creates lawsuits, it will create havoc for many business people. And maybe the big guys can handle this, the small guys can't handle it. What concerns me too, the information we have is the Small Business Administration's Office of Advocacy recently concluded that EPA and the Corps have improperly certified the proposed rule under the Regulatory Flexibility Act because it would have direct and significant effects on small business. This isn't something I'm saying, this is what they're saying. So again, the small guy's going to get screwed, pardon, that's a highly technical term, but with whatever you do, because it will be new, it will be subject to suit, it will be subject to interpretation, it'll be subject to new regulation, which you're imposing that has a cost. So the ones that were, you know, what's the biggest job creator in the United States? Do you two know? Where do we get the most jobs from? Do you know? Ma'am?
Small
Either
businesses is what I understand.
Small business. And according to, again, their advocacy group, they don't feel consulted. They don't even feel that you complied with the requirements to consult them. So any change, I think, is going to raise havoc and costs, some costs documented here, uncertainty. Possibly there are things that we need to do for improvement, and I think you can do many of those things for water quality in this country without changing this definition. Again, if you implement the rule, if you adopt the rule this spring, when would it be implemented?
It would be effective on publication in the Federal
Okay, so
Register.
everyone would have to comply with that. That's kind of handy dandy because that's the rule. You create the chaos, the uncertainty, the havoc. We could pass a bill, and I think there's enough support to pass a bill in the House and Senate to undo your rule. More than likely, that will take time. We've seen the slow roll on Keystone. Did you want to comment?
I
or-
just wanted to, I neglected to indicate that it's actually 60 days beyond that
Okay,
date
okay, well,
because it does
60
allow
days,
Congress to
that's
take a look at
probably
it.
even worse, but in any event, what that does is give the president a bill that will rescind what you're doing. I predict that will happen, and then the president would veto it, and it will be much more difficult for us to override that veto. That's the scenario I see, Mr. Chairman, and it's not a pretty one for small business or anyone who's concerned with government regulations or its impact.
Gentleman's time is-
I yield back the balance of my
Gentleman's
time.
time has expired.